Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Double A Team Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Nagishi. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday night. As you can see, my guest tonight, at least one of them, is my regular friend and a Bears YouTuber from his very popular YouTube channel, DaWindyCity Productions, Rishab Skiri. Rishab, good evening. How are you tonight?
Good evening. I'm doing well. It's been a long time since we recorded. So excited to get back into it with the game week on the horizon. Exciting times to be a Bears fan for sure.
Absolutely. Thank goodness, it's finally football season. And we couldn't be more excited tonight. And because, it's usually you and I do the talking back and forth. But as we embark on a new season, we have a special guest that I've mentioned on Twitter. I'm sure that if you follow the Bears, you know the website WindyCityGridiron.com on SB Nation. I've had the editor-in-chief, Lester Wilfong, several times on this show in the past. Hope to bring him on again at some point during the season. But joining us tonight is the newest addition to their page, the writer and contributor. I'm actually a little bit jealous that they could actually bring in a new person there. And Celeste says, "Hey guys, and thanks for joining us tonight, Celeste, and everybody else. You got any questions to us? Feel free to send us questions and comments out here. Let's bring her on. It is the contributor of newest edition, I should say, the contributor to the Windy City Gridiron, Sarah DiNiccolo, the newest member of the Windy City Gridiron. Sarah, good evening. Thanks for joining us. I think this is the first time I've had you on here. Thank you, and welcome to our live stream. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, and definitely very excited to get the season going here, less than a week away, and I'm excited to be on tonight.
Well, welcome, and I'm new to you, and so can you give us a kind of a background on what your original background is and how you ended up joining Windy City Gridiron?
Yeah, so I grew up in Chicago and just kind of grew up being a Bears fan and started, getting into the Bears community on Twitter the past couple years, and have just been, really enjoying the community. And I think that it was a couple months ago that I saw a tweet that they were, looking to get a new writer. And so I just emailed Lester, the editor-in-chief, and we had a call, and he thought that I would be a good fit. So yeah, now here we are. Still obviously very new to it, but it's been a really great experience so far. And I will actually be having a weekly article that will be kind of discussing the what's the word now? Like the superlatives for players. And it'll be out every Monday morning for the season. So
awesome. Was your background in writing when you went to college?
Yeah, so I went to Loyola and I got 2 bachelor's degrees, one in communications and then another one in English. And then I went to Ball State and I did my master's program there, also in English. So.
Oh, nice. Good.
Is this your first time writing for like Chicago Bears, or did you cover like sports content too in the past?
No, this is my first time. I mean, like I said, I would just like talk casually about it on Twitter, but nothing like, not associated with any publication or anything like that. But yeah, so this is my first time.
You picked a good season to do it.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Oscar, thanks for the comments. And, anybody who would like to engage with us, feel free to send comments or questions toward us. Do you have like a day job like both Rishab and I do?
Yeah, I work in marketing. I work at a architecture and engineering firm, so that's kind of what my 9 to 5 job is. So,
Awesome. So you live in the suburbs of Chicago as well?
no, I actually live on the East Coast. I moved after living in Indiana for grad school. I moved to the East Coast about 2 years ago, so it's just a little bit over 2 years. So.
Well, welcome. I'm on the East Coast side as well, even though I'm in the Michigan area typically. So I
Oh,
don't know
okay,
people.
nice.
Yeah, so you and I are on the East Coast time zone right now. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I know you got to get up early, so we'll get right to the questions here. Let's start off with the big trade that sends shockwaves throughout the league, especially in the NFC North. Micah Parsons was finally sent to the Green Bay Packers of all teams, unfortunately, from the Dallas Cowboys after all the holdouts and everything. Now that the trade has been consummated and several days have gone past, including the Labor Day weekend. Sarah, let's start with you. How do you feel about the trade right now, and where does this put the Packers in the context, not just in the NFC North, but overall in the NFC picture right now? Where do you put them? Do you put them behind Philadelphia, or do you still put them like a third in the NFC North right now?
Yeah, I think that I'm very interested to see how the Lions are going to play out this season. Just losing both of their coordinators in the off
Yeah.
season. But I think that the Lions will still come out on top of the Packers in the division. I think with like the trade, they must think that they are, a player away to be contenders. So yeah, I'm not, I think that at least for the Bears, we won't see them until week 14, and hopefully that's enough time for us to iron out any wrinkles, with the new coaching staff and, new offensive line and everything like that. So, I definitely think it will be interesting to see where all of like the chips fall for the NFC North this season, especially with like all of the like off season, moves and changes that were made.
Rishab, what were your overall thoughts on this trade, and how do you feel about it now?
Yeah, well, I hate it. I mean, I definitely didn't like to see the notification.
Sure.
I was actually working when it happened, and then my cousin called me on the phone, and I didn't answer because I was working, but he just texted me like, no, and I'm thinking like, did Caleb get injured or something? So I was kind of worried at first, but then thankfully, like, I was actually kind of relieved that he said Micah got traded to the Packers because I thought Caleb got injured at first, but when it sunk in, I was like, oh shit, like the Packers just got a lot better. So obviously not good if you are an NFC North fan. Packers defense got a lot better. I think this gives them at least a couple more wins this year because Micah is that type of player where like his impact just himself, he can win you a few games. It's kind of like Khalil Mack. But the one thing I will say is that the Packers still have a lot of weaknesses on that secondary, especially like, their third cornerback is a converted wide receiver, right? Like they don't have a good secondary right now. So I think that secondary could still be their downfall to some extent. And Jordan Love still having question marks too as a quarterback. Last year he had a lot of interceptions in the playoffs. He wasn't the best. So, those could be reasons why the Packers don't win the NFC North, but this certainly gives them a much better shot to win. But like Sarah said, like there's other teams in the NFC North too. Like Lions are still a team to watch. The Vikings could be sneaky good this year because they have a good roster around a young quarterback in JJ McCarthy. So it's really anybody's division. Like I don't think any team is really a favorite right now just because there's so many good teams. So, still hate the Micah trade, but hopefully, we can neutralize it with our own offensive additions this year.
Well, the news broke that he had to have like a cortisone shot in his back or something, which obviously explained why he was actually looking to see a second opinion, for his back and a specialist. So he might not be at 100% initially. We'll see how that impacts, his overall play. And then the Bears certainly will not play the Packers all the way until December in week 14 and 16. So there's, plenty of time for the Bears to figure out how to neutralize Micah Parsons, of course. And hopefully the Bears will have their act together, and they were in much better position than where they were about a year ago when their offensive line was just horrific and gave up 68 sacks throughout this season last year, and nearly got Caleb Williams killed pretty much. So does this trade kind of cement the fact that the Bears were, as tough as the NFC North is, does this kind of make it kind of official that maybe the Bears are fourth in the division? Maybe not as bad as last year, but maybe, say, for example, I think a lot of people believe that 10 wins is the actual ceiling for this team. Rishab, do you feel like 10-7 is achievable, and yet this team will still be in the fourth place in the NFC North?
Well, if we're 10-7, I think we probably wouldn't be fourth place, but you never know because how good the division is. But I don't think by any means the Bears are cemented as last place in the division. Like, we have maybe the best play caller in the division in Ben Johnson. So if you have him and Caleb Williams, who, like, Caleb could potentially be the best quarterback in the division this year. That's not a crazy thing to predict with how talented of a quarterback he was coming out of college football. Like, if you have the best quarterback and the best play caller, you could, win a lot of games. Like, you could be first place even this year. Like, I don't think it's impossible for the Bears to even win the division, even with how tough it is, because it just kind of reminds me of 2018, where, like, there's so much new energy surrounding a new head coach. We made a lot of offensive additions, young quarterback going into year 2, and Caleb is a lot better of a prospect than Mitch Trubisky was. So I don't think the Bears finish last in the division. I think it's going to be either Minnesota or, well, it's tough to say because all the teams are good, but, like, I think Minnesota is going to finish last place because they have JJ McCarthy, basically a rookie quarterback. But yeah, I don't think the Bears are going to be last place.
Sarah, do you feel this? Do you share the same sentiment, or do you feel like the Bears are still a year away from being, finishing second or even winning the division?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that, like, I don't think we are gonna win the division. I think, I don't think we're gonna finish last, or I think, like, at least we have, we have, the roster, the coaching staff where, it wouldn't, it's achievable for us, but I don't think we are at that point where we, are winning the division, or even coming in second. I think that it's going to take, some time before the team and the coaching staff, are all on the same page, where things, are gelling with the offensive line. The pre-snap penalties are not, a glaring issue, things like that. So I feel like this year we're definitely be, ironing out those wrinkles and trying to, establish a personality, like what this team is, and what, our strengths are and where we can improve. But I don't think we're necessarily cemented in to finish in last place either. So, I think there will definitely be improvement from last year. I mean, it's, it's a low bar, of course, but I think, we at least have the coaching staff and the roster to make that, like, an achievable goal to not finish in last.
Mm-hmm. So what will it take for the, for the, every people, I should say, every people has a difference of an opinion when it comes to, okay, so what makes it a successful season for the Chicago Bears? Whether it's record or, their own record within their own division, because, they were only 1-5, of course. And, certainly that record has to be much, much better. They have to probably split at least 3-3 within the division to have a legitimate shot, of course, to maybe still be in the, the playoff race moving forward, at least for the rest of the season. Rishab, what do you think is what would you consider, make it like a successful season for you personally in this upcoming season for Chicago Bears?
Yeah, I would say wins have to matter a lot. Like this is year 3 into a rebuild, or year 4, right, under Ryan Poles. Like it's been a lot of years now under Ryan Poles. But
Right. This is his 4th year as a GM.
Yeah, so you got to win games. Like you can't just win 5 or 6 games. You need to win at least 8 games, in my opinion, for this to be a successful season. And even then, like I'm hoping for playoffs. Maybe that's a little bit too lofty of an expectation because, like Sarah said, like the division is super good. Maybe we're still a year away from that point, but with all the talent that we have, like I don't think it's crazy to, win 8 or 9 or 10 games. Like that should definitely be doable. And another thing for success is obviously, Caleb has to have a good season. Like I would hope he has 4K passing yards or at least somewhere close to that. Like he needs to have one of the best seasons in Bears quarterback history, which the bar is so low for that. It should be very easily achievable with all the weapons that we have with Ben Johnson. I just want to see an offense that's going to be exciting and fun to watch, where we're not going to be ripping our teeth out every Sunday, screaming at the offensive coordinator like we were all of last year. Like I want to see fun football. I want to see us win games, and I want to see growth from Caleb Williams and the rest of the team. I mean, at the end of the day, if, at the end of next season, we know for a fact that Caleb and Ben Johnson are our future, then that was a successful season, regardless of what else happened.
So as the season gets underway, Braxton Jones was named the left tackle, which I think despite all the competition talks, Ozzie Trapello ended up hitting a rookie wall. Theo Benedict, the rookie, Canadian free agent last year, and also a cult hero from the HBO, Hard Knocks series last year. Jones kind of fended off for now, but I think the question now becomes, how short is Braxton Jones's leash at left tackle? I kind of feel that the first 4 games before the bye week in week 5 will tell a lot of the stories. Hopefully Jones is capable. I would say, I think despite all the flaws, he's above, maybe like an average left tackle guy. Somebody that you can certainly get away with it, at least for maybe another year, but someone that you have to feel that, you want more or you need to upgrade. Sarah, how do you feel about the Jones's leash at left tackle? How much of a leash do you give him?
Yeah, I think he is still recovering from last season's injury. And I think that that's definitely putting him at a disadvantage. I mean, like you said,
his preseason wasn't good at all.
No, it was not looking good. And I think that, I do think a lot of that is because he just isn't fully, back to full strength or full health. I think that, he will, it will depend on a lot of, if his injury improves or if he can get back to full strength or full health. But I also, would be curious to see. I know Ben Johnson said in a presser recently that he's not, they're not afraid to name a different starter as the season goes on, and that, the bye week is going to be when they're really evaluating, how the past couple games and the past couple weeks have played out. So I think that that's really going to be, maybe moving on from there is when we really will have our left tackle determined, or if we're going to be playing him, longer than that. But I would really like to just see, Ozzie Trapello get a chance to play left tackle and see, because I think he was doing well in preseason before he hit that wall. And so I would like to see, if he can continue progressing and eventually become the starter. So yeah, I think that it will definitely depend on the injury and essentially how the first 4 weeks of the season go.
Mm-hmm. Rishab, how do you feel about the left tackle current position right now? And if there's a chance that Braxton Jones can hold it, or if Ozzy Trapello will likely be somebody that's going to eventually take over as soon as sometime this season if things go south.
Yeah, I agree with Sarah. I think they're going to look at the bye week to see what the plan is going forward. I think it was a good idea to start Braxton right away because, going up against tough defenses like, the Vikings and the Lions, they have star pass rushers. Like, you don't want a rookie tackle to be completely overwhelmed and the whole game plan to just fall apart. So I think that having an early bye week actually is a benefit this year to some extent because it's super early. It's like week 5, right? But like at that point, you can see if Braxton is going to be the long-term starter, if you want to make a change to Ozzy and other areas of the team too. You can like see maybe the CB2 spot. Like you can see if Tyreek deserves that spot. You can see if Nashawn Wright deserves a chance. So it's going to be good to take a step back and kind of, see where the team is at the bye week. But if I had to guess, I think Braxton is not going to finish the season as a starting left tackle because they definitely believe in Ozzy. Like he was the starting left tackle through a good portion of camp until he hit that rookie wall. And
Yeah.
you hope that the conditioning and everything can improve with him because if he's conditioned well, like he could definitely be the Bears starting left tackle. And I think the Bears want to get a look at him before next season because they have to make a big decision on Braxton Jones in the offseason if they're going to pay him like
Right.
$25 million per year because that's what it costs to extend any good or average left tackle. And
Yeah.
at this point in time, I don't think the Bears want to extend him. So I think it would make sense to just, start Ozzy at some point, maybe like midway through the season.
Absolutely. My guest tonight, in addition to my regular friend Rishab Skiri from the Bears YouTube channel, The Windy City, it is Sarah DiNiccolo, who is now the newest contributor with the Windy City Gridiron on the SB Nation website. Thanks for joining us tonight for this upcoming season preview of the Chicago Bears right now. So other than the left tackle, I think the current weakness with the Bears, we already talked about left tackle, edge, and also maybe running back as are two big issues with this team right now. So the edge rusher right now, it seems as though Austin Booker, who had a terrific camp again this year, looks like he is on IR, and he's going to be on short-term IR, which means he's going to have to spend the first 4 weeks, which is a huge blow right now. Do you feel like, Sarah, that the Dennis Allen system can kind of cover up the issues at the edge rusher? Because it seems as though interior pressure seems to be more of a thing with the Allen system. Or do you feel like Bears are kind of like making a dangerous gamble here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely believe in Dennis Allen as, a defensive coordinator. And I think that he will have bring a lot more pressure than, Matt Eberflus when he was calling defense. I think that, I think the preseason game against the Chiefs definitely, caused some nerves in a lot of fans, and for good reason. And obviously, you can say, well, that was a contender, Super Bowl contender that they were playing, and it might not be a fully accurate picture. I also think the other injuries that we have on defense right now are, not going to be. That's going to be, a disadvantage for us, definitely. So, I would hope that he, can take what he saw against the preseason game against the Chiefs and make adjustments from that. But we also have a tough schedule this season too. So, I also was really surprised that we didn't sign or like pick up anyone before the deadline. So I guess we'll see what happens and also determine, when Austin Booker returns from his injury as well.
Mm-hmm. Rishab, how confident are you in Dennis Allen's team? And do you feel like maybe at some point the Bears will likely, who knows, maybe are kind of like forced to keep looking for I don't want to say scrap heap, but there are a couple of good pass rushers still out on the market. Not sure if the Bears can work around the cap space to get one, or maybe trade one at the deadline, just like they did a couple of years ago with Montez Sweat, who has to step up big time this year. What do you feel like? How do you feel about the current situation with the pass rush and the defense right now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good for the most part. Pass rush is our weakest position probably on the entire team, so it's a
Right.
little bit scary because like if an injury happens, for example, knock on wood, like that's horrible. Like that ruins our season basically because we don't have good backup edge rushers. Dominique Robinson is our backup edge right now, which I can't believe how that happened. But there's still guys out there, like you mentioned, like Zadarius Smith is out there. He could be a guy that the Bears add. I'm not sure why they haven't yet. Like that makes perfect sense. Maybe you trade for a guy, but clearly the Bears have a lot of hope in Dayo Odengbo to be the edge two on this team. So hopefully he can take a step up and be pretty productive. And I think a lot of the pressure is going to come from the inside this year for the Chicago Bears, like, from guys like Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings, Javon Dexter, hopefully Shamar Turner. Like that's going to be where the majority of the D-line pressure comes from, and maybe also from the nickel blitzes, like from Kyler Gordon, safety blitzes from Jaquan Brisker. So, we can find ways to get pressure on the quarterback. It's just going to have to be a little bit more creative, and that's why we brought in Dennis Allen. I mean, he knows how to get pressure on the quarterback. You saw like in that 2020 season against Tom Brady, like the amount of pressure he threw Tom Brady's way caused them to, I think the Saints won both of the games that year against the Buccaneers. So, he has experience going up against top quarterbacks and top offenses and still scheming around the deficiencies on his team. So I think we should be fine. Like we should still have a hopefully top 15, top 12 defense. But if you want to be truly elite, we need the pass rush to step up. And guys like Montez Sweat have to be better. Guys like Dayo Odengbo have to be better as well.
I think one of the guys that we haven't talked enough at this point with regards to the D-line is Javon Dexter. Sarah, how do you see Dexter fitting into the system? Do you feel like he's going to be kind of like moving back and forth between interior or the edge, or do you feel like his size, which seems to fit Dennis Allen's scheme better in terms of the kind of defensive end that he likes in the system?
Yeah, I think that they could definitely. I think both sides of the ball. They might be just seeing where players fit best, and trying to switch things around just to see if that will give them an advantage. So I do think that it wouldn't be surprising to see him, in a different position or rotating between one or the other, or at least, for a few weeks to just kind of evaluate it. So especially with, him fitting better as a defensive and, like you said, as in Dennis Allen's scheme. So I wouldn't be surprised to kind of see them switching things around a little bit and trying to, evaluate where players will be best.
My guest tonight is Rishab Skiri from the YouTube, the Windy City channel, as well as Sarah DiNiccolo, the newest member / contributor with the Windy City Gridiron on the SB Nation website. Let's talk about Caleb Williams. He had a pretty, up and down camp. He had a terrific game against the, Buffalo Bills in two quarters. That first drive was just really crisp, sharp. The ball really came out quick. Certainly the first drive was very encouraging. The second one was maybe a little bit uneven. And then he played pretty much the entire first half. There were some bad moments in the first couple of series before, he had a very strong last two drives before halftime. They scored 10 points, of course. People are, kind of like always taking shots at Caleb, which is understandable because, the Bears never had any luck drafting or even developing a quarterback. They came close with Cutler, and certainly Mitch had his moments, but eventually they all fizzled out. There are some really, stupid takes about Ben Johnson not having much of a leash and everything. But certainly with the preseason now out of the way, the big question now is, Sarah, let's start with you. How long do you think it will take for Caleb to really get down and comfortable with Ben Johnson's system? And what do you say about these people who makes weird assumptions that Johnson doesn't have, Johnson's leash on Williams is short, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably by the middle of the season is when, the offense and Caleb, the play calling, all of that will really start to gel, and, they've ironed out all of those kinks and really feel like they are working all together and operating smoothly. I think that, the comments around Ben Johnson and, especially, before he, it was announced that he was going to be the head coach for the Bears, there was obviously comments about him, not being able to be a leader of men or like command the room. And I think that we've seen everything we've seen so far is, says otherwise about that as well. So I think that, people are going to criticize, and I think that it will, hopefully by the end of the season, a lot of those concerns that people have will be, proven to be wrong, and that, they're like, Rishab said earlier, if we can at least know by the end of the season that Caleb and Ben are going to be with us for the long haul, and that we, found the right quarterback and head coach, I think that will definitely quiet a lot of people and the chatter that's been going on about it. So I think that by the middle of the season is when we can really start to see everything, smoothly operating.
Rishab, what do you want? When do you want to see this thing settle down? Do you go with Sarah, or do you feel like you want to see the entire season in order to, give Caleb the, the support and that he kind of deserves after going through such a, an S show of a season that he went through last year?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with the middle of the season. I think by week 7, week 8, week 9, the offense should be humming. Like, we should be scoring a good amount of points. We should be seeing Caleb and the receivers being on the same page. We shouldn't be seeing pre-snap issues anymore. We shouldn't be seeing the ball on the ground as much. And honestly, even like in the first month of the season, like after the bye week, I do want to start seeing progress, because like the NFL season is so short. Like, there's only 17 games, so you can't waste games, right? Like, even if the offense is bad at the beginning, you need to find a way to win games and like move the football down the field, which is why I think having a good defense could help, and having all these weapons, all the offensive line, like that could help if Caleb is struggling at first. But, we're expecting big things out of Caleb. Like, this is a year 2 he's going into. He was a number 1 draft pick, deemed by some people to be generational, deemed by others to just be a really good prospect. But regardless, like, he was one of the best, quarterback prospects to come out in the last like 5 or 6 years, and probably the best, most talented quarterback the Bears have ever had in terms of a physical standpoint, in terms of just like overall, the prospect he was. So we need to see that like play out. And like Sarah said, like, I think middle of the season is probably a good point to see if it's actually happening, but I would hope it also shows signs a little bit earlier so we can start winning games this year.
Let's see. That guy 44 commented about should talk about how much of a problem Nahshon Wright is, and I'm going to kind of bundled into this conversation about Nahshon Wright and everything. But secondary is a bit of a I wouldn't say trouble spot right now. We just found out that Jalen Johnson had a groin injury, which is bothersome, and unfortunately, he did not even participated in the entire training camp right now. Hopefully, even at a 75-80%, he is willing to give it a go, and I'm sure he will definitely play the opening night, going up against Justin Jefferson and everything. But I think the secondary right now is a bit of a, potential to be like a real dangerous weakness right now. Tyreek Stevenson had a pretty uneven preseason. Certainly that opened the door for Trey Flowers, Nashawn Wright, and among others. The safety is also a trouble spot too. Jaquan Brisker had a bunch of concussions last year, knocked him out for a long, long time. Kevin Byard is 31 and he becomes a free agent at the end of the year as well. Sarah, how do you look at the secondary also with Nashawn Wright's performance, and how much of a concern do you have with the secondary?
Yeah, I think that the concerning part of the secondary is the depth that we have currently, or that we lack, I should say, especially with Terrell Smith being injured and being out for the whole year. Yeah. It's definitely, I think that kind of made it a little bit more of an issue. And so I think that hopefully Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson can come back. They're healthy for the majority of the season. And Jaquan Brisker, of course, as well, who, I feel like has had a lot of injuries the past few years, which has made it difficult for him to be consistently on the field. So, I would feel a little bit more comfortable about the position if we just had, some more depth there in case those injuries do end up taking out our starters. And we need to, resort to our backup players.
Rishab, how much of a concern do you have on the secondary as of right now with the Jalen Johnson's injury and then the Tyreek Stevenson needing to step up after the Washington debacle and all that he went through this last year?
Yeah, definitely concerned about the depth as well. But I mean, we have two high-end starters in Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson, so at least that helps big time. That when we are healthy, like this could be one of the best secondaries in football. Best nickel cornerback, maybe top 5 outside cornerback in Jalen Johnson. So you have a lot of talent there, but yeah, if somebody goes down, the depth isn't that encouraging. We lost Terrell Smith for the season. We also lost Frazier, our 5th round pick, for some personal issues. So
yes,
not ideal, but I still like our starters. And if you look at the safeties that we have, big fan of Jaquan Brisker, but like he can't stay healthy, so that's a problem. And Kevin Byard is getting up there in age, and the backup safeties also aren't like that amazing, I'd say. I mean, Jonathan Owens, like he's shown some big time playmaking ability, but in coverage, maybe he's not going to be as good as Jaquan Brisker or Kevin Byard. So yeah, you just pray these guys stay healthy, because if they are healthy, this could be one of the best secondaries in football.
Absolutely. Let's get to the the most important conversation: keys to the victory against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are breaking in a brand new quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who started Michigan, won a national title, but he is somebody who's from LaGrange, so this is a bit of a homecoming for him. He was drafted 10th overall last year, but missed the entire season with, I believe, torn meniscus or something like that. And certainly this his second season, but in reality, this is his first full season. It's kind of like Chet Holmgren when he got picked number 1 overall, but missed the entire rookie season when he was, again, picked number 1 overall by Oklahoma City Thunder a couple of years ago. So to me, I think the biggest key to the victory would be on the offense. I think the Bears have to run the ball very effectively, whoever is at the backfield, which I would assume DeAndre Swift gets the majority of the carry, and then hopefully Kyle Monangai is probably at this point right now a game time decision, but hopefully he is healthy enough to bring his violent style of running that he was known for in Rutgers. Offensively, of course, I think Caleb has to hit the receiver quickly, just take whatever the defense gives, and of course not hold on to the ball quickly enough. Offensively, Sarah, what does the Bears need to do to lead to victory against the Minnesota Vikings defense, which of course is led by Brian Flores and his blitzing scheme.
Yeah. Like I think, you hit on those main things, getting the ball out quickly, getting the run game involved and really I think that's going to be huge in helping out, Caleb so that we're not, relying on him to get the ball out and just, have that relief. But I actually think that the key to winning the Vikings game is actually going to be coming from our defense. I really think the pressure that they can bring and, get to JJ McCarthy, especially since it is his first NFL game, and it also is prime time and it's at Soldier Field. So I think, there's obviously going to be some nerves there. And I think that, if our defense can get to him and just bring that pressure, that's really going to help us out there and really pad our offense. But obviously, you want both sides of the ball and special teams to be, playing well. But I think that's really is the key is our defensive pressure.
Mm-hmm. Rishab, what are your thoughts on the keys to this game against the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, I was gonna talk about the pressure, but I'll switch to like an offensive key. So I would say just like counteracting Brian Flores' pressure he's gonna send in this game. And he's gonna be sending a lot of pressure. We've seen him blitz Caleb and other young quarterbacks, huge amount of time. So you're gonna need a plan for that. Like you're gonna need the tight ends to be involved in blocking. You're gonna need Caleb to be aware of what's going on, calling out all the protections and like adjusting if something needs to be adjusted. You need the offensive line to pick up the blitzes and the stunts. So it's going to be a team effort to reduce the pressure, and it's also going to be on Ben Johnson to scheme up like quick throws to get the ball out of Caleb's hands in within 2 or 3 seconds, right? Like you don't want to have him step back and be there for 4 or 5 seconds getting sacked. I mean, I think the first quarter of this game is going to tell us a lot about how the game is going to progress, because if Caleb goes out there and gets sacked like 2 times on the opening drive, I'm not going to have high hopes for the rest of the game. So like you have to start out hot. Hopefully that's something we never did under Shane Waldron. Didn't score any time, I think, in the first drive under Shane Waldron, any touchdowns. So, hopefully we can counteract that pressure. Hopefully we can get the ball out of Caleb's hands quickly, and hopefully, we can score a good amount of touchdowns, because Ben Johnson has actually scored like 31 points per game against Brian Flores in the 4 games he coached against him. So he has his number in many ways, and hopefully that can continue with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, that might be a huge. That might be a huge stat that Johnson has had Flores' numbers there. Go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, I was just gonna the pre-snap penalties. Those can really end up make or breaking. Because obviously once we get the momentum going and then boom, pre-snap penalty, and then it feels like we lost that. So obviously that's key to winning any game. But I hope to see a lot less of that on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Prediction time. Sarah, what is your final score for this one?
I think that the Bears are going to win. I think that it's not going to be the prettiest or like the neatest game. I think, there's going to be some sloppiness or just not they're not going to get blown, they're not going to blow out the Vikings or anything like that. I think it'll be close, maybe 24 to 17 or something where it's just 24 to 21, like just a field goal away. But I think I do think the Bears will come out with the win. I just think that we might be sitting on the edge of our seats a few times throughout it. So
absolutely. Rishab, your thoughts and final prediction for this one?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to be ugly, low scoring. It's week 1 with 2 young quarterbacks, 2 good defensive coordinators. So I think my final score prediction is like the same, basically 23-20. I think Bears win 23-20. I do think they're going to win this game because being at home with Ben Johnson's like debut, Usually young or rookie head coaches, they win their first game coaching for some reason. Even Eberflus won his first game ever head coaching. So like there's like some type of magic that goes on with the first game. And I just think being at home, the energy at Soldier Field is going to carry us to victory, but it's not going to be pretty by any means.
And no, it won't be pretty, and nor it won't be easy. I'm going to say maybe a little bit of wishful thinking on my part, 27-20 Bears. I think Caleb can throw at least 2 touchdowns in this one to Odunze and then, DJ Moore. Certainly those 2 will likely have to step up big time in this contest on a Monday night there. Sarah, I apologize. I know you were probably getting up there, 10 o'clock already here on the East Coast. Do you have any final words? Maybe Rishab and I will probably carry on for another couple of minutes. But do you have any final words on the, for the Bears and, your upcoming work with the Windy City Gridiron?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this season. I'm definitely trying to manage my expectations because I felt like this last season and we saw how that played out. But I'm really, really excited for, just to see Ben Johnson, his magic. I obviously really wanted him to land at Chicago and here he is. So I think that, like with the moves that we made in the off season with the coaching changes, I think I really hope to see some good improvement from last season, and I think we will. So I'm very, very excited to just have football back, to have the Bears playing every week again, and I'm excited to get to channel that this season into writing for Windy City Gridiron, because I, was just kind of sticking with, Twitter last season, but now I can actually have a different outlet to put my thoughts and everything like that. So I'm excited for week 1, prime time game, Ben Johnson's debut. I think it'll be a good game. So yeah. And again, thank you so much for having me on the show. It was great to just, get hyped up about the season and start talking about it. So,
Sarah, thank you for your time to stay us late. I'd love to have you on again during the regular season, and we can talk about the Bears, the NFL in general, and we hope to have you on again throughout regular season. And hopefully, since you and I are on the Eastern time zone, hopefully, the time should be easy to kind of work around your daily schedule. And I'll have Rishab give me your info, and then I'll try and reach out to you personally for future updates and future appearances and all that stuff. Thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow Sarah on her X. And then make sure you can see there at the Chicago Saras. I think, is that it? Sares?
Yeah, the Chicago Saras.
Saras. Okay. And then also follow her on her work at the DaWindyCityGridiron.com. Thank you for your time, Sarah. We'll hope to have you on again very, very soon.
Yes. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. All right, Rishab, let's try and do some lightning round stuff before, you also have to get ready for tomorrow as well. I know we kind of missed out on some questions that we want to catch up on. You all should stream this on Rishab's YouTube channel so it's more accessible. Mike, thank you very much. We try to do that, but, we have 3 people that's on the limit. Ken Fang's YouTube channel, my ex, and your ex's handle right now. So we'll try and figure it out moving forward, that maybe, if we cannot do 4 live streams connections, we'll probably remove maybe Ken's, YouTube, and then put on Rishab's, YouTube channel. Would that be okay with you, Rishab?
Yeah, 100%. We can do that
All right.
for this season. Yeah.
Absolutely. For the Bears season, I think we could definitely try and put Rishab's YouTube channel. Thanks for the suggestions, G Mike. Us. Let's see. Burden, I guess, is now actually number 10. So he went from 87 to 13 to 10 now. It's kind of like weird that, somebody, even a rookie, much less, to go through so many different uniform number changes. What do you think about this number change? Do you like a superstitious thing, or do you feel like it's I don't know, all about nothing at this point?
I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, but I kind of wish he kept 87 at this point. The 87 was looking really good. So,
yeah. Tom Waddle's old number there as well.
Yeah.
We'll see if we'll find out. Maybe that was his choice originally, but we'll see what it goes. King Kumar, what do you think? Who do you think will be the surprise guy that makes an impact? I wrote on BearGogglesOn.com about Noah Sewell, the linebacker, maybe finding his spot in the Dennis Allen's defense as a like a Mike linebacker. I truly believe that he has a chance to make some surprise impact on this defense. That's the one guy that I think on defense. Offensively, yeah, I'm very high on Colston Loveland. I think the game he had in Buffalo against Buffalo on that first drive was really impressive. 2 catches, really showed his stuff. The shoulder injury that bothered him throughout last season, and then also limited him in OTAs, does not seem to be any problems at all. Do you have any surprise guys that you're keeping an eye out on this season?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Kyle Monangai probably. I mean, I know we mentioned him already in the show, and maybe he's not as much of a surprise because we don't have a good run game yet, but I think he could be a guy that could go off and have like a pretty good season. Like we've seen 7th-round running backs before, 6th-round running backs like become starters in the past. So I think there's a world in which he could be the Bears running back 1 this year and have 1,000 yards even. Like that sounds crazy to think, but it's definitely possible, with what he's shown in preseason so far.
Mm-hmm. Defensively, do you have anybody that you're, thinking, this guy doesn't get much love or attention, but, could be a huge contributor needed,
I mean, Noah Sewell is one. Maybe Ruben Hippolyte to some extent. I don't think he's going to beat out Noah Sewell, but maybe here and there, if there's like injuries or whatever, he could pop in and make a couple big time plays. He had a really good preseason, so I think he'd be a guy I'm watching out for. And besides that, the Bears defense is mostly full of veterans at this point. Like we don't have too many unknowns, I feel like. So yeah, I'd probably say those 2.
I'm hoping that Ja'Day Walker, terrific story, undrafted free agent out of Texas A&M. It'd be cool to see him make some cool catches, and of course that touchdown, and then that making that shuffle run that he does every time. That's actually pretty cool stuff. Hopefully he does that a couple of times this year. And then finally here, a question from the Bears Blast. I think Ozzy Tropella will be like Dan Skipper, extra O-lineman, and that's why they had him working on the right side as well. Also has shown he's been able to catch the ball for the occasional trick plays. Thoughts? Well, let me start by saying this. I do believe that, Ben Johnson is a master of, trick plays. If you go to the Athletic today, written by Ted Nguyen, who I had him earlier this year on my live stream, wrote and then ranked the offensive play callers in the NFL. And Ben Johnson was ranked 3rd, and then they spoke about about a lot of the trick plays and everything. And I certainly would think that there will be at times where Ozzy Tropella will be reported as an extra offensive lineman and may make some, key catches in the end zone, or maybe, God forbid, even, be a blocker or something like that. we all remember what happened with the Washington game on that when Doug Kramer whiffed the block or was not reported and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully those things are a thing of the past. Do you think like trick plays are, obviously Ben Johnson's specialty? Do you think like Ozzie Trapello will be used as such, like a Dan Skipper role when Ben Johnson was with Detroit, or do you feel like that's a little bit too much to ask for a rookie?
No, it's definitely possible. I mean, he's super athletic. He fits the mold for sure. So
Yeah.
And with him being the primary backup right tackle and taking a lot of snaps with the ones in the preseason training camp, I think they're like actually molding him to be the next Dan Skipper. I mean, I think Dan Skipper is even like, wasn't he available to sign? Like, I think the Lions cut him like last week or whatever. Maybe they signed him back, but the Bears had the
I
opportunity.
think Dan Skipper, I think he might be still a free agent. I don't know if he was brought back as a practice squad guy, but I think there were maybe talks about Bears looking at him because of that. We'll see. But what do you? So I apologize for interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that they're basically planning for him to be the next Dan Skipper because I mean, if he's not playing left tackle for the Bears, like he's obviously not going to beat out Darnell Wright for right tackle. So at this point, they've just delegated him to the sixth offensive lineman role, which I mean, that's fine. Like for a rookie, that's definitely a doable role, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, on that note, thank you, Rishab, for bringing on Sarah and having, asking me to do this tonight. It was incredible conversations, we've had tonight. Sarah certainly brought a lot of, great takes, and I'm really looking forward to having Sarah on throughout the season, with or without you, because I know that, your schedule can be, very, very tricky, working from home or working and then having to go back home at times, in the evenings. So, we love to have all three of us, myself, you, and Sarah. But throughout the season, I look forward to having, Sarah and Rishab, or even just, one of you by solo, depending on the scheduling, of course, and have a great conversations regarding the Bears and the throughout the league as well. Hopefully that we get to talk about the Bears victory this upcoming Monday. Of course, bear down and listen. Thank you for everybody for engaging and asking questions and also comments as well. Hopefully, Sarah will be available to talk a little close to an hour, of course, but hopefully we'll have her again and then make sure to accommodate her schedule as well. Any final words, Rishab?
Yeah, just really excited for this game. Really happy football is back. Hopefully we're discussing a win next week. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Looking forward to the game.
Do you want to do a live stream throughout the season when scheduled?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely going to do that too. At least a few games this year, we'll definitely be live streaming.
Absolutely. By the way, next week, I'll be in Phoenix on a vacation. So I'll be watching the Bears game in Phoenix on a Monday night. I'll be back on next Saturday. So I will be available Sunday, week 2 against the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson's homecoming of sorts. If you want to do a live stream, let me know, because I can actually watch the game locally here on Fox. So I might be a little bit, like a one play ahead of you guys. I know you watched it on the, YouTube channel, right? YouTube TV, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me know if you would like to do this, because obviously it's going to be a very interesting game. Another divisional game that's very, very important to have high stakes as well. Of course, Ben Johnson homecoming will be the the storyline there as well. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. 934 people. We'll try and figure out the linking Rishab's YouTube channel for future shows, if that's possible. And hopefully we'll have more information throughout the season on our next live stream schedule. Rishab, listen, thanks for doing this tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and look forward to speaking with you again sometime next week, and hopefully talking about the Bears' victory.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Bear down.
Bear down. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you again in the near future on the Double A Team podcast live stream. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.